So today we're going to peel back the layers of the internet to a place that operates completely in the shadows, a place with its very own, totally untraceable economy.
Yeah, we're talking about a world that's built on absolute, total anonymity. And it's all fueled by a pretty revolutionary digital currency. And as you can see from that quote, I mean, wow, the stories that come out of this place are just horrifying.
Okay, so to really get how this digital underworld even came to be, we've got to go back in time. Back to one single pivotal year, 2008. Now, you probably remember 2008 for the global financial collapse, right? But it turns out that same year quietly birthed the tools for a whole new kind of underground economy.
All right, so before we really dive into 2008, we need to get a handle on what this place actually is, and just how massive the part of the internet we never see really is. So get this. The internet you and I use every day, Google, Amazon, Instagram, that's just the tippy top of the iceberg. We're talking only about 3% of the entire web. So what in the world is in the other 97%? Well, right below the surface, you've got something called the deep web. And its name sounds kind of spooky, but it's not really all that sinister. Most of it is just protected stuff. Think government records, your medical files, university servers, things that are kept safe behind a login and password.
But then there's another layer, a separate, much more secretive one, and that's the dark web. This is a tiny part of the internet that's hidden on purpose. This is where you find those infamous .onion websites.
So the big question is, how do people even get to this hidden world without leaving a trace?
The key is a special browser called Tor. That's short for the Onion Router, and it's designed to do one thing really, really well: hide who you are and where you are. It does this by bouncing your connection all over the globe through a whole network of relays, kind of like a digital hall of mirrors.
But okay, all this anonymity creates a massive problem if you want to, do business. You've got this anonymous marketplace for illegal stuff, but how do you actually pay for anything? I mean, you can't exactly swipe your Visa to hire a hacker, right?
Well, the answer to that problem, it didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It was literally forged in the fires of that very same global crisis we were just talking about.
And that's where Bitcoin comes in. It was the perfect and kind of paradoxical currency for this hidden world. See, Bitcoin itself was born out of a massive distrust of the banks that were crashing and burning back in 2008. On one hand, it's totally transparent. Anyone can see the public record of a payment, so you know the money was sent. But on the other hand, it's completely hidden. Nobody knows who actually owns the digital wallet.
And this was a match made in heaven. Or maybe hell. The dark web needed an anonymous currency, and suddenly, Bitcoin needed a marketplace to prove it had any value at all. They fueled each other. One really couldn't have taken off without the other. So you have these two huge technologies arriving at the exact same time. You got to ask, was that just a coincidence? Not at all. It was a perfect storm, and its origins are, well, they're pretty bizarre. Okay, just look at this timeline. It's wild. The tool that gives you all this anonymity, Tor, it was actually created by the US military to protect American spies overseas, right? Then, in 2008, the same year Lehman Brothers is collapsing, that very same tool becomes open source, available to everyone. And poof, the public dark web is born. And then, in that exact same year, a mysterious paper gets published by someone outlining the grand design for Bitcoin.
The author went by the name Satoshi Nakamoto, but here's the crazy part. No one knows who that is. A person, a group, nobody has ever figured it out. Think about that. A multi-trillion-dollar crypto economy was basically built on the ideas of a complete ghost.
But this perfect storm of technology, born from secret government labs and some anonymous manifesto, it had a side effect, an unintended and absolutely devastating human cost.
So what's really going on in there? Well, experts say the horrifying reality is that the vast majority of the content on the dark web, we're talking 60 to 70%, is dedicated to one of the absolute worst crimes you can possibly imagine. And what's really shocking is where this stuff comes from. Data from the Internet Watch Foundation suggests that almost a quarter of all this horrific material originates from just 3 countries in South Asia.
And look, these are not just numbers on a chart. They represent real people, real children, unimaginable suffering. And this quote here from a police officer in India, it just brings the terrifying reality of it all into sharp, painful focus.
So for anyone out there who might be curious about going there themselves, let me be clear. The risks are incredibly high. You're not just some tourist looking around.
You are stepping into a world where criminals operate with total freedom. You could face serious legal trouble, get your data stolen, or, honestly, much, much worse. So, this hidden world, born from that really strange perfect storm back in 2008, it just keeps on operating, right under our noses, just out of sight. And it leaves us with one final, pretty unsettling question, doesn't it? In a world where governments build the tools for total anonymity, and ghosts create untraceable money right after a global financial collapse, who is really in control?